Alright guys, how we doing? Hope everyone's doing alright. Welcome back to the channel. Big shout out to all the subscribers and shout out to anyone new. Gratitude to everybody. So this is part 2 of the videos I'm making called Training Day, where I'm just going to give you guys some tips that I found helpful on my little journey. That's what this channel's about, just targeting beginners, helping them understand the sport a little bit deeper and just giving them some guidance with punching specifically, but just a lot of aspects in boxing, but specifically punching and training. Just let you know what I went through and maybe give you some tips. Hopefully they can help you. So today we're going to be talking about where discomfort brings growth, right? Give me one sec. Yeah, so what I mean by that is, and I'm going to bring examples in this video too, of somebody that I'm training that I had a little chat to the other day that really helped him. Shout out to you, Joshua. And basically, you know, you have to really make yourself a little bit uncomfortable at times to really get that growth, really get that improvement, especially from a cardio point of view, but also mental. You know, the obviously physical, but mentally. You know, boxing is 75%, 80% mental. And, you know, to strengthen your mind, which is your greatest asset in boxing, you have to put yourself through some uncomfortable situations, right? And a lot of times you can control that in training. And some boxers, you know, they'll stay at a certain comfort level where they're training and they just... It's not to say they don't necessarily want to do it, but they might not know to push things a little bit. A lot of times they don't want to, but it depends on who you are. But when you push yourself a little bit and you go through the paces and you make yourself a bit uncomfortable on a daily basis, first of all, that's the quickest way to getting discipline, in my opinion. We'll talk more about that, but making yourself a bit uncomfortable, that's where the growth happens, right? Anyway, I'll just be stopping off at a few places and enlighten a bit more on my journey. Okay guys, hope you can see me all right. It's actually a really gorgeous day today, so hopefully I'll get some better shots in a minute. But I want to talk about what comfort is, period, right? And also I want to just obviously enforce the fact that you should be shadow boxing on a daily basis, especially if you're trying to fight or, you know, end up sparring, stuff like that. Shadow boxing is going to be the key. I feel like not enough fighters still do it. Try to aim for 6 to 8 every single day. But what I'm saying, fighters get comfortable, right? And I'm saying it's okay to shadow box and just go through the motions of your punches, right? Nice and smoothly, okay? And just, you know, work on your technique. Absolutely. In fact, you should. And I do that for the first 1 or 2. I'll take my time, loosen up a little bit, boom, boom, work on my technique, nice and relaxed, boom, work on, you know, the jab, my footwork, just easing into it. But then I'll start to step it up a little bit. But where a lot of boxers, not necessarily a lot, I don't know the exact number, I'm not trying to put everybody on blast, but I have seen it over the years where they'll stay in their comfort zone, you know, they'll just shadow box like this, you know, it's all good. They might pick it up a little bit, but, you know, when they start to get tired a little bit, they might take it off a little bit, still stay in that comfort zone, right? One thing you can do is start to turn up the shadow boxing, start to turn the intensity up, start to really, you know, whip shots in a little faster. You know, I've said before, you should really focus and practice on the technique that you can go at. Absolutely, but you got to test yourself as well, and you got to put a bit more intensity to it so you can get more of a reality in terms of fighting and stuff like that. Because, you know, shadow boxing like this, as I said, it's all good, but, you know, you go from that to fighting, there's a big gap. So you got to try to, you know, shorten the gap as well. And shadow boxing is a good way to do that. So it's a good way to do, it covers so many things. I haven't got enough time to even really speak on how important shadow boxing is, but you can certainly get your heart rate going. So even if it's basic combinations, let's just say you can throw 1, 2, right? You're going through the motions. Now you're just gonna, right? Put maximum power into it. If you can get good technique with it. That's a really important point. You don't want to start shadowboxing with loads of floors everywhere just for the sake of building your cardio, in my opinion. But you can certainly start stepping it up, round 2 or 3, start improving combinations that you can do whilst maintaining good technique, good balance, right? So that's my point about being comfortable. You don't want to just sit there for 6 to 8 rounds, jabbing here, moving, looking cool, whatever. You got to start stepping it up a little bit, get that cardio, and start to test your own technique. Let's move on. I want to give a shout out to Joshua. He's what prompted me to make this video, because we were in the gym the other day, and you know, I've been training. I met him in one of the schools I teach at, and he just immediately showed this desire to want to like box. And I said, just come to the gym, bro. I'll help you. So he's been coming to the gym, and just the other day I just noticed, and he's been getting a lot better. His technique's been getting much better. He's been working on himself. He's been shadow boxing. He's been doing everything he can to really get better, and I respect it. But one thing I noticed is like his cardio wasn't really improving, right? And he noticed his upper strength needed a bit of improvement, and so he's on the ropes, on the weights and stuff like that. But his cardio wasn't getting better. So that's why I'm making this video, because I had to chat with him. I was like, you got to push yourself a bit more. And I'm not even saying that he wasn't even trying to push himself. I don't think he realized the benefits from it. So that day we were in the gym, I was hitting the bag with him. I was like, keep going, don't stop until that bell goes, and put a lot into it, okay? Because you're gonna have to push through the mental barrier. And that's exactly what happened. And we were just working on how to defend a 1-2. I'll put that video up later tomorrow. But my point is, I showed him, I was like, you got to push through that, the uncomfortable part, to get the growth, right? You got to do it on a daily grind. You got to test yourself and put yourself through a mental challenge, because this, my brain, your brain, is your biggest weapon. But you got to train it just like a muscle. And that's one of the ways you can do it in training, is push yourself a little bit farther than you used to going, and keep going at it. And then the bar becomes higher and higher, right? And then you just become used to being a little bit tougher, because you can go the other way, right? You can get softer by choosing to do 8 rounds of shadow boxing if you're just being light with it, or whatever, you know, like skipping out on the hard stuff. That's softening yourself. You go the other way, you're toughening yourself. Anyway, I'm gonna make another video called Winter is Coming, where the Game of Thrones reference, I'm actually gonna play the song whilst training. Now, I like to bring a bit of art and music into the channel, but anyway, I'm gonna do a bit of shadow boxing. I'll stop off at one more place, give you guys a bit more, a few more tips, and also a little drill that maybe you could do to help yourself push through the barrier of the pain. So you can still bring the intensity without punching from time to time. Yeah, really work on your defense. You know, obviously your feet, you don't want to necessarily do big movements, right? Try and work on small steps, but you know, efficiently, quickly, visualizing your opponent, keeping your hands up, understanding you've got 3 lines of defense. The first line is probably your feet. I say probably, it really depends on your style, but almost always your feet. You got your hands for blocking, parrying, catching, and then your head movement, right? Rolling, slipping, put them all together, and you can be a solid defensive fighter. Throw a jab in there, fundamentals right there. But you bring the intensity up, you know? Imagine someone's really chasing you, side shuffling, keeping the footwork tight, nice and clean, hands up, blocking shots. Yeah? You can really work that into your routine. And you can tell my heart rate's getting up a little bit. We're slowly starting to exist in that more uncomfortable zone. And it's only gonna get more uncomfortable, so I'm gonna add some burpees, some more shadow boxing, some more squats. And by the end of it, I'm gonna feel great. All right, guys, quick drill, right? And you can apply this to any combination. You can apply it to any part of your training. Obviously, just stepping things up, period, is going to, you know, bring you closer to that uncomfortable area. So this combo I'm about to show you, right uppercut, left uppercut, cross, hook. Now I'm gonna do it for 3 minutes, right? It's not a very long time, but I'm gonna bring the intensity up. I'm gonna go in all directions. So I'm working on my technique. I'm trying to get it good. I'm trying to stay relaxed. I'm trying to work on my breathing. I'm working on my footwork as well. Now this combination, you wouldn't throw it like this, boom, 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 when you're boxing, right? At least not that many times in a row, but all together, the point is you're working on your coordination, cardio, and all the other things I said already. So, but you could implement it, you could just use a 1-2 if it's a bit easier, right? So, 3 minutes. And I'm going to speed it up as well because I'm sure you don't want to watch this for 3 minutes, but yeah, you can enjoy this at home. Make sure your hands are on your chin, uppercut, cross, whoa, stepping left. All right, with good intensity. I didn't have a timer, so hopefully it was roughly 3 minutes, but you get my point. Keep going, grit, dig down, dig a little deeper, get that heart rate going where you're uncomfortable, that way you can focus on things whilst you're uncomfortable. That's a really important way to train, especially if you're learning how to fight, because you're going to be uncomfortable at times. You've got to know how to deal with the pressure. But I think that's it for today. You know, I wanted to bring more training footage in, but I get carried away sometimes and the video ends up being too long, and I want to compress things and get the good info in. But big shout out to Joshua, big shout out to anybody that's trying to get the best out of themselves. You know, it's what part of this channel is about. Self-improvement, self-love, self-discipline, training, boxing, technique, you know, discipline, and just be the best you can be. I hope that drill made sense. I pictured it being a little bit better in my mind. But the point is, you stick to what you're doing. At some point the technique starts to falter a little bit, right? Because you are tired, so you got to grit down a little bit, keep a good shape, keep your breathing going, and tap into that area of uncomfortability, right? Is that a word? Anyway, yeah, listen, because what it will bring for you is a lot of peace, a lot of confidence, a lot of self-discipline, self-love, all the things I mentioned in abundance. You just got to go through it to get to it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next episode. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to be doing a lot more of these training videos. So let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas. I'll be happy to help. Have a great week. Remember, with pain comes growth. Thanks for watching.